All right, guys, welcome back to the Swing Society podcast. So this week I am in Cebu, Philippines. It's a beautiful place. I am joined by Max Cooper, who is in the room right now. I am sitting here with the view of the water. This place is absolutely insane. Um, we've been traveling around now. We had an Australian guest. Next week we got a pretty cool guest lined up. Been traveling all around Australia for about the last 9 days. Max, where were we? You
We
know them
were
all.
we started in Sydney, and then we went to Brisbane, and then we went to Melbourne, and then we went to Singapore for the night, and now we are here.
Yeah. So far, what is your favorite stop on this tour so far?
Oh gosh,
We'll go Australian City, because we just got here last night, and Singapore, while beautiful, we hit and run. I had a private booking. We'll talk about that in a minute, but Australian City.
probably Brisbane. That was so beautiful. The weather was perfect. The kangaroos are really cool to see. The food was really good. The casino was not so good, but other than that, it was
To
a fun
you,
time. Yeah, it wasn't good to
once
me.
again, we always seem to have this conversation, and I think I always win significant wins. I think I paid for uh, all the food we ate in Australia and most of the hotels winnings in Brisbane, and you somehow always manage to get unlucky when we go to those things.
Yeah, every time we go gamble, I am the one that brings you all the luck, but you pay for all the stuff. So I guess it works out in the end, but then I still don't end up with any more money. So it doesn't really work out for me.
That is a very very true statement there. So we talk about you talked about the kangaroos on the course in Brisbane. We had quite a few kangaroos hanging out with us in Melbourne and Brisbane. I think that is, you know, one of the most culture shocking things for you never see them in Sydney, but culture shocking things for an American. I know last year was your first year doing that tour with me. You went over to film my tour special. Just seeing those things hopping around a golf course. I mean, I guess it would be like a deer in America, but as an American, it just blows your mind. You know,
Hmm. Yeah, it was.
it's
I mean, it was. I don't know. We just don't see it. It's like it's so normal to them, and they're just like, yeah, whatever. And then to us, it's like, oh my gosh, it's a kangaroo.
yeah, right. You see them all sitting there with their little babies in their pouches and hanging out and all that stuff. But I still think Melbourne is one of my favorite cities in the world. I just think it's beautiful. You know, we always go to Australia in winter. Right? It's quite a weird situation when you jump on that 8 hour flight. We seem to always go either from Singapore down to Australia or the other way. And you either go from, hot tropical weather, because Singapore is basically on the equator, down to Australia, or in this case, you go from pure winter. Melbourne is probably 55 degrees Fahrenheit, 60 degrees Fahrenheit during the day, which would be warmer than most Americans experience if you're in the north. But you go from winter to this tropical heat wave. And we were out walking around in Singapore, and it was hot, man.
Hmm. No, it was. It's just one of those things where it's like you step outside and it looks like you need to go take a shower right away, or you just took a shower.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was definitely sweating through the shirt when we were walking around all
Hmm.
day. I mean, it just, when we walk like 6 miles around that city at night. I love Singapore. It is one of the safest cities you can possibly find. You feel perfectly comfortable walking around late at night. Nothing's going to happen to you. You're not going to get robbed. It's just a very safe city, and it's sparkling and beautiful. There's no trash on the ground. Um, Wish we were there for longer. We literally landed there our Friday night, went and walked around till like midnight, and then I woke up and did a private booking, and then literally went to the lounge at the airport, took a shower, and flew here. So we were there for a very short period of time. But now we're in Cebu. So first thoughts on Cebu. You get the drive in. How did you feel about that drive, Max? Was that kind of eye opening to you too, as an American?
I mean, yeah, it's just you don't see goats walking on the road back home, and
Yeah.
we saw about 5 to 10 goats just wobbling around, not, just like it's another day at the office for them, and it's just crazy to see how all their houses and all their living situation is so different from what
Oh yeah.
we think back home. Like it's night and day difference. If you've ever been to the Philippines, you probably have seen it and but if you haven't, it's shack after shack after shack after shack stacked on top of each other. And it is one
Sure.
of the most surreal things ever, but it makes you so grateful for what you got back home too.
Sure. And they got the hawkers out there selling food. I used to love watching Bourdain shows, and the hawkers were his favorite thing. He loved his trips through Asia because you could go find that street food. Ooh, Maxie's got the sneezes out here already. The
That double
allergies are
vetted so
getting.
bad.
You could go get the street food, the local vendors, stuff like that. It's and a lot of it's really good.
Mhm.
He used to say that the goal was to spend the next morning on the toilet after you eat that food. But, you know, unfortunately, we can't afford that because we got to golf school. But then after we did the drive, we got down to, we're now at the resort right here on the water. And it's really cool. You got all those boats that you see when you're watching movies about people going to Asia in the background. The beach is beautiful. Um, it's a really really cool resort here. Beautiful resort when you get, and it's crazy because you go through these gates with guards at the gates, and then you come on this property and you feel like you're on a 5-star resort with just beautiful views, beautiful pools in the background. How you liking the resort, Mr. Cooper?
It's good. It's good. The food is really good this morning for breakfast, and then we had a good dinner last night. Had the adobo, which obviously is
There you go.
a staple of the Philippines, and it's just yeah, it's been really good so far.
Yeah, the adobo is something you have to eat. We got to get some sinigang. We got to get some more Filipino food while we're here. But we have in reality 6 days in the Philippines. We we go from here to Manila where we have a few schools.
Mhm.
I'd say the Philippines were the quickest sellouts of this entire tour. I mean, they sell out fast every time I come through here. I can't tell you how grateful I am to be able to teach in places like Cebu. I mean, the background here. I know Cebu's the city that's just a little bit out there, but some Americans might know where that is. So we're on the island just away from it. We're like an hour away from the golf course. Get up, have a driver pick us up tomorrow and head out there. Um, so observations from the golf schools, Mr. Cooper. How what do you think? Do you think there's a difference in between what we see on a regular basis when we're running around the United States versus running around foreign countries and what the golfers struggle with? Or when it comes to I know you have a short game and putting perspective. Or do you think golfers all over struggle with the same thing?
It's all the same thing. It's all the
Mhm.
same issues. It doesn't matter if you're in the northern hemisphere or you're in the southern hemisphere. It
You're
is
correct.
all the same issue, not getting the hands high enough, not keeping the pressure far enough forward, not hitting down on it enough. Whatever it may be, whether we're in Omaha or we're in Sydney, Australia, it's going to be the exact same issue.
I think that's a good point because with my core golf school, I run the same format. Unless it's a private book like I did in Singapore, I run the same exact format we do from city to city, and I think that is a you know you see the same exact issues in golfers everywhere. And I think it's important. And the fun thing with schools in foreign countries, not necessarily. Um, Max hasn't yet experienced this. When you're running through like Japan, the there's a little bit of a language barrier, so you have to slow everything down. You have to go more hands on to really communicate what you're trying to get through to the player, right? But it's still the same core principles that you're working on, whether you're here or anywhere else. So you're gonna have fun with that. But after this, we like I said, we do the three schools here in the Philippines. Then we run up through Korea and Japan, and then we're back to the States. I got a couple people I want to talk to on the podcast out there, but we still have some questions to answer. Even though I kind of just want to go lay there and stare at my view for my day
Yeah,
off and let Max sit in. Oh, don't yeah, you get to sit there and edit this thing up, my friend. Um, we're gonna be nice to Max. We're gonna let him get the first clip out so he can go enjoy the view. You know.
I appreciate that. I really
Yeah,
do appreciate
he
that.
says how mean I am all the time, but I'm really nice that we get that I'm going to give him the day to enjoy the view. He's got the view. I'm sure you'll see it on my Instagram feed at some point in time, but the view from the rooftop bar is stunning, like 360 view of the water, and you go to the city. Max loves watching the airplanes take off. He's into that. That's all right. I am too. Seeing some crazy stuff out here. But golf swing questions. It's time for that. That's what people are here for. That's what they want to answer. I'm just watching somebody use like a bamboo broom to sweep off a walkway next to me. So the first golf swing question, we pose them to our golf school students and in our golf school group. Actually have some really cool stuff going on with that. Jim asked and said that when he hits putts, first of all, he likes to set up with his hands a little bit behind the ball at address, and he notices that the ball skips on him. Um, so obviously he's probably hitting up on that too much, leading with the leading edge, getting the ball above the equator. What are some things you would do to eliminate that problem?
I mean, first off, if he's setting up with his hands way too far behind the golf ball, we got to fix that. That's the first thing we're going to start with because if you're obviously your attack angle is not correct, you're not going to get the correct spin rate, you're not going to get the correct launch rate. And with a putter, you want to hit down on it ever so slightly. You don't want to hit up on it because that's going to make the ball not launch out correctly. Start line could get affected, contact can get affected. Anything is possible when you do that. So I would start with cleaning up his setup, and then from there, taking a look and seeing what the stroke is. I'd be curious to see if we were to clean up the setup, see what that does with the stroke. Because
Sure.
sometimes just cleaning up setup and cleaning up how you stand to the putter and all that, or stand up to the ball and all that stuff, can change how the stroke looks right away. So I would start with that, and then from there we can go in and see what the stroke looks like.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in somewhere between. I'm okay with a little bit up um, on the with the 808 putter, somewhere between 1 and 1. Um, I think that is a good range with the putter, depending on what the player's trying to do, depending on what type of putter the player has. I think that range is fairly sufficient. It's getting windy out here. It feels nice. It was so humid earlier. I probably have to talk louder to get over the wind for the end of this, but that's all right. Um, Next question came from Bill. I'll handle this one. Bill said that he is sitting there and he has been violently pulling golf shots, snap hooking them, hole hooking them. Um, what are you going after first? So with a pull hooker of the golf ball, I think one of the keys is obviously we can assume that this isn't a situation where where the path is neutral and the face is just getting close. We can make an assumption on that. It is entirely possible the face is just so dead closed, and the path is neutral or even out that we're snap hooking it that way. But the amateur snap hook is generally a player who is coming across the golf ball with a club face that's dead shut. So first things first, I would actually attack the face. I always believe that club face is king. Try and get the face in a orientation where it's not so wide open, and then we'll go after the path. You can do blocking drills on that. You can check your grip. Maybe it got a little bit too strong. There's a lot of reasons that a player would struggle with snap hooks when it comes to grip. Maybe the release is too hard. It gets possible. A lot of snap hooks come from the fact that the club face just gets so open at the top of the backswing. Everything's in a decent formation that the player just pulls everything and throws it out. One, that shuts down the face, but the huge negative that comes along with that movement pattern is we are in turn generally throwing the path across. So that can bring the massive snap hook into play. That can create a lot of problems. But generally face first, then I'm going after path. Um, but that's an example of one of those things where you can have a multitude of causes and effects with the snap hook there. This one I'll give to Mr. Cooper here. One of our clients brought up the fact that he keeps getting the old blade when the ball is sitting down in the rough. He gets that buried lie in the rough. If you have a player with a buried lie in a rough, what are your checkpoints for getting out of it? And let's assume this is that thick old northeastern U.S. bumpy rough that you really got to get after. What are you doing next?
So first thing is making sure you take enough loft on the club, because if you don't take enough loft on the club, the rough is going to shut that face down. Golf ball is not going to be able to get anywhere. So making sure you take enough loft in. Are we talking from the fairway, or are we talking green side chipping kind of?
Green side pitch. Green side pitch.
Okay. So the shot that I teach in the golf school. But what you want to do when you have a buried lie is you, one, take enough loft, and then two, you want to open that face even more to add loft, because sometimes that rough can get so nasty to where it shuts that face so quick and that golf ball has nowhere to go. So by adding that extra little bit of loft at setup, it's just going to help ensure that you get that golf ball out even more. So it just increases your chance of getting the golf ball to get out of that rough. Now, when I'm teaching this, I kind of think of it as a bunker shot almost, where you get the club coming in really, really steep and really, really quick, because the more time that club interacts with that rough, the more time there is for that rough to shut that face. So the quicker we get the club into the ball, the less time there is for that grass to shut it down. So I always say get really steep, get really quick with it, and then feel like you kind of close the face a little bit through impact, kind of how we've been talking about with our higher shots and the short game shots that we've been teaching, and then it just will pop out. Now with that, there's going to be a lot of unpredictability. It's not going to come out with a lot of spin, just because you never know exactly how it's going to come out of the grass. But it'll just help you increase the chance of getting it on the green and giving yourself a putt, which if you can go make the putt, you save par. If not, you make bogey at worst. But it beats playing ping pong over the green back and forth every single time and making a triple because of it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And remember, when you're in rough, the grass, the longer time the club is in the grass, it can manipulate the pace. You can open it, close it, depending on scenario. Rough can be tricky. So you are looking to be steeper into a lie, whether it be in the fairway or green side. So absolutely. That's the questions that we have there. So I know this week we had a little bit of a shorter podcast, mainly because we wanted to give you the view. We wanted to do something. But I also want to just go hang out by the beach and enjoy my day off. So we will.
I do want to say one more thing, though. The amount of personal best we have gotten over the past month or so from everybody has been insane. We got two more. Wade from Tulsa shot 75 today. Cameron Womack, Houston, shot 76 today. Another personal best. And there's so many that we've had. They keep coming. It's like every single day someone's doing something.
Those two numbers, this part wasn't planned. I haven't been in the group yet this morning, and woke up and went for my walk. Those two numbers are impressive. I'm gonna have to get in there and congratulate them on that. But yeah, you're right. We have seen a whole bunch of golf schoolers talk about the scores that they just recently shot, and we're seeing some fantastic results. Onto the golf schools. If you're interested, we just came out with leg 2. All my fall dates that I will be, Max will be there too, but all the fall dates for my events in the U.S. are coming up. This is the last tour where we go out for like 3 weeks and just do a gazillion cities in a row. A lot of them will be, we pop in, do 3 cities over a weekend, and then head home. So that part will be kind of nice. That's a lot easier to handle than just going and going and going and going like this. But when you go international, it's a little hard to pop in for a weekend in the Philippines and then head back home and then pop the next weekend over to
Hmm.
Tokyo. So
Yeah.
Lake 2 has been announced. You can book with me, ChristopherHourGolf.com. Send me a message, whatever you want to do. We're easily out there. And as always, thank you for joining me, Max. And I appreciate every single person for tuning in. And we'll talk to you next week.